Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it once again with another video covering the Steam censorship saga, as Collective Shout is taking full credit for the delisting and censorship of games on Steam. And here's the key part about this entire story: via payment processors. The payment processors are the ones with power here. I think there's a lot of attention being put on Collective Shout, and I'll give you guys the heads up on what their statement was. I really don't have a problem with Collective Shout, this group of people having an opinion. Anybody can have an opinion. I go back over and over again to the payment processors having this level of power, which is the real big issue to all of this. Collective Shout is an entity that they're a movement trying to have their point across and having their ideals established. Whatever. There's gonna be a billion other organizations that have different ideals than you and I. There's gonna be a billion after I leave this earth. There's been a billion before I came to this earth. It's just gonna happen over and over again. The problem with all of this is the power that the payment processors have. So we'll go over that, and again, we'll talk all about that. And I do have a couple of concerns with Collective Shout and a couple of points that, if they would address, I think that would be cool. They're not going to address it. I don't think anybody from Collective Shout is watching this video, to be honest, but I digress. So Collective Shout made a Facebook update in response to false claims and misinformation about our campaign. We're setting the record straight. Some have asked why we involved payment processors, and others have claimed we are responsible for itch.io removing all NSFW content. We raised our objections to blank and blank games on Steam for month. I say blank and blank because I got electricity bills to pay. I don't want to be evicted, you know what I'm saying? So we gotta keep this video monetized, alright? I gotta eat just like you guys gotta eat. We raised our objection to blank and blank games on Steam for months, and they ignored us for months. We approached the payment processors because Steam did not respond to us. Payment processors, once again, here's the problem. They are the means to an end. They have the power. I do not care about Collective Shout. Again, they are an entity with an opinion. Whatever. They have opinions that differ from mine, and I really don't care about Sex Adventures getting delisted from Steam. There's a lot of games that get delisted from Steam. What I would be concerned about with Collective Shout in particular, because now they do have the means to an end in payment processors. Do y'all feel the same way about Detroit Become Human? Do y'all feel the same way about Grand Theft Auto 5? Yeah, you guys got all of these games getting pulled from Steam. What about those other games that you were involved with and you wanted to get delisted as well, or you wanted to not be sold? That is what I am concerned with, because remember, in any situation like this, if you give an entity an inch, they can end up taking a mile, and it is the payment processors that have the power here. Collective Shout are the ones going to the payment processors, but now that the realization has been made that the payment processors have this level of power, ultimately, some sort of entity that was against whatever content was available on Steam would have come to fruition, and this would have happened. Again, I go back to the payment processors over and over again because they are the means to an end. They are the ones with the power, and they are the ones that made Steam buck. Do you think Steam cared about Collective Shout's requests or inquiries or anything like that? No, it's when the payment processors got involved, and it would have been a legitimate threat to Valve and Steam's bottom line that, okay, they did something. Now, Collective Shout also put out a Steam campaign timeline, and the Steam campaign timeline, they did note, in response to false claims and misinformation about our campaign, we're setting the record straight. Some have asked why we involve payment processors, and others have claimed we are responsible for itch.io removing all content. We raised our objection to blank and blank games on Steam for months, and they ignored us for months. We approached the payment processors because Steam did not respond to us. We called on itch.io to remove blank and blank games that we argued normalize violence and abuse of women. Itch.io made the decision to remove all NSFW content. Our objections were to content that involved blank violence and torture of women. Yeah, like, I totally understand why you could see certain games promoting certain acts. I mean, there are a lot of games that use very grim and dark acts in life to tell a story. These are art, or, they're perceived to be art, and sometimes dark themes can lead to incredibly powerful execution of stories. That's just what gaming has been. Now, the games that got pulled, are they trying to create these incredibly moving narratives? That debate can be had for a while. I looked at the list of games that got pulled. I don't really care about those, but let me go back to Detroit Become Human. Detroit Become Human is a game that certainly has some dark themes attached to it, and it's an incredibly powerful and moving story that has an overwhelmingly positive reception on Steam. I do not care about the games in a vacuum that got delisted from Steam as far as me playing them. However, Detroit Become Human, Grand Theft Auto 5, Stellar Blade, these are games that I imagine that an entity like Collective Shout would have a problem with. I say imagine because I don't know that to be a fact. Look, they had a problem with Detroit Become Human all those years ago. Things can change. You might change your perception on things. Do you still feel the same way about Detroit Become Human? Do you still feel the same way about Grand Theft Auto 5? And where is the actual definitive conclusion to when this will end? And also on top of that, the fact that this has happened already once, it has already caused consequences that you can't actually quantify because this will change game development. If you are an indie developer that is pouring limited resources and limited time into creating your passion project that is a video game, your creative vision now can be stifled by the thought process of, okay, I'm creating this game, but ultimately, what can I include in this game to tell the story that I want to tell? What can't I include? How do I avoid Steam coming and delisting my game at some point? Because that is a real worry that now you have to worry about. I don't think the EAs, the Sonys of the world, you know, all of these major publishers and even major games, if a major game got delisted, I'm not even talking about the Detroit Become Humans of the world, maybe even one step below that. I think that would actually send complete shockwaves if this hasn't yet, because that would be the eye-opener. At this point, a lot of people are just assessing it as, bro, you're complaining about sex adventures, and I would argue that that is looking way too much into a vacuum at these things, but once you have been slapped in the face with a very big game, or at least a notable game, not even a very big game, a notable game that people have heard about, that people have known about, and people understand that there's quality to that game, because the games that get delisted right now, whether or not there are quality in them, that's whatever, for you to debate. However, the perception is, bro, it's sex adventures, it's not a big deal. The perception if a game, let's just take Detroit because that's a game outlined by Collective Shout. If Detroit got pulled from Steam, that would send shockwaves in the gaming community. Like, if this hasn't yet, that would send absolute shockwaves, and that would actually legitimize the point that people are making. Right now, you can't legitimize the point of, oh, big games could be delisted, because it's just theoretical. A big game, at least what I perceive to be a big game, has not been delisted yet from the standpoint. But you don't want to open the floodgates for that to be a possibility, and we can go back to the point over and over again. The payment processors being the means to an end is the big problem. Collective Shout, you can have the opinion Stellar Blade should be gone from Earth and Shift Up should be shut down. You can have whatever opinion you want. It's a free world. But once you have an avenue to cause changes to the platform that people buy their games from, and again, you could say it's whatever about the games that get pulled, but once a Stellar Blade, a Detroit Become Human, a GTA 5, and again, I don't think any of those games are gonna get delisted, but even a game a tier or two below those games get delisted, I think that would actually make people realize, oh, probably a little bit of a problem that payment processors have all this power. But again, at this point, I'm not losing sleep over some of the games getting delisted, but it is certainly a murky territory, and especially, again, the avenue which Collective Shout is realizing what they want to do. And again, I don't have a problem with entities having their own objectives, having their own opinions. It's when you have an avenue to actually cause change where the avenue that is causing the change really shouldn't have that level of power, if that makes sense. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.